Okay, so the Roman Empire is a good example for this question that I have. So since you say we organize our behavior to move to get more power, and the Roman Empire was a very powerful empire, how does the Constructal law explain its downfall, essentially? Like what, because if there's this continual progression of more power, acquiring more power to move more efficiently, how do these kinds of things ebb and flow or peak and then the opposite of peak, but like the downfall essentially? Do you understand my question? Sorry, I feel like that was a
Yeah,
bit.
I understand it, and I've I've heard glimpses of the answer when I put these small things together. What happens in, say, the evolution of a social group, in this case, an empire, is that is very similar to what happens in the evolution of a team, for example, a soccer team. If the organization is uh, perennially successful, perennially, then every new generation uh, is born in is born to have an easier life,
Hmm.
meaning wealthier, um, yeah, not as demanding or as brutal as the lives of the elders, who, by the way, to have this high level of civilization, and yes, they had peace inside the empire, the Roman Empire. The elders had to fight wars almost all the time on the periphery.
Hmm.
Rome expanded in order to keep the attacks farther and farther from Rome.
Right.
So the elders were hardened, and they had short lives. And then came one new generation after another. Then, of course, was Christianity being declared the religion of the empire. Um, a new hierarchy was added on top of the Roman hierarchy, the monarchy itself, and so two things conspired. One, the easier life. Uh, uh, what I read is that the taxes increased um, significantly,
And
and
taxes decrease mobility of the average person, right?
yeah,
Because they have less money.
taxes are the negative incentive to the producer,
Hmm.
because you have to ask in a society, where does the food come from? Just I was asking about the power and the electric outlet. Nobody is asking where that comes from. I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from from people who every day work with fire, in these coal-driven or natural gas-driven power plants. Here we have a natural gas power plant that electrifies this entire Duke University. It's a very
Hmm.
good thing, because when there's a power outage somewhere in the vicinity because of a hurricane, uh, Duke University is the only place where you could come and check your email, you see. uh, so so that's what happened. People became they got used to a relatively easier life. I read somewhere that during this period that is called the downfall of the empire, the it's called the clair in French. The population who were the prelates, serving the church,
Hmm.
had multiplied, and they were being paid by the state. Uh, in other words, they were uh, because the church was a state religion, and they were not working in the fields. I'm trying to say, okay,
Hmm.
and so that added to the uh, uh, I wouldn't call it burden, but it's a word like the group of those who are not producing. Um,
Yeah, there's a form of like leeching,
Not
essentially.
leaching, but more like a having to carry a backpack. I'm talking about the state, a backpack
Hmm.
that previously did not exist,
Okay.
and um, and these things added to the point of bankrupting the state. That was the and of course the danger today in America is exactly that. If you look at spending money that you don't have is the apparently the philosophy of the government for several decades. The national debt. That is a dog that's gonna bite you sooner or later.
Mhm.
Um, um, so and I started with a winning soccer team. On a winning soccer team, every new kid who joins the team when the famous team is at its peak, uh, and the same is true of the new coach, is unaware of the fact that to get to that level, you have to be as hungry as the players that made the team famous. But those players are long retired, and so the culture on the team in the locker room of the new recruits is not the same, meaning not as hungry as that of the locker room, maybe taking showers with cold water that brought up the original players that put the team on the map, um, or people playing in the mud or playing with a terrible ball, or you can look. By the way, if you can today you can see black and white newsreels of any sport you want, how it was played in the 1910, 1920. Uh,
Yeah. Hockey's a
yeah,
really good example of that,
or hockey,
actually.
yes, and you say, wow, and how, wow, uh, and that the difference between um, now and before is deeply, deeply educational. And that is what I teach when I teach this design in nature. You see, history is part of my answer. History, and what I know about human civilization is goes hand in hand with what I know about animals. Animals is another wonderful book of ahas, but the message from that the book is the same. Is the same. Um, I may have told you, my wife and I go on safari every year.
No, you
That
didn't tell me this.
Yeah, and every summer, and for 1 week, okay. But it's a week of connecting again and again with the similar societies where everybody is driven by power, uh, grazing or chasing an impala, and you see there the engine and movement design with which our conversation really began. Um, the predator does not eat constantly because the predator is actually honest. The predator, yes, the predator, the the predator is not a hoarder. Okay, um, uh, the rhythm of catching prey is dictated by the rhythmic need to produce and spend power.
Right.
It's a you can call it balance, but I don't call it that. I say it's the same thing. Because the power intake through the food is yes is the same. Is convertible into power of moving the legs faster or whatever efficiently to over a of a characteristic interval of time in order
Hmm.
to catch one prey, and then the whole pride, the group, the family lives another 2 days or three based on that on that one cycle, one cycle of eating and then moving and then resting. You see these predators; they are always resting. That's why they can get photographed. Uh, yeah, people uh, they actually talk because you don't go in these vehicles through the bush alone. You say, "Wow, so nice! Oh, they're so cute. They're standing. Oh, they are rolling their bellies up to be photographed." Bullshit. They're actually this is their life. Most of most of these so-called predators are just like the jet fighters, are standing on the ground, not chasing anything.
Wow, that's a really good analogy, actually.
It is the same design, okay?
Yeah.
It's the same design. Which means that life, once again, as we know from personal life, is a rhythm. You work, you sleep. Oh, and something else, you don't eat all the time. That's another rhythm. Um, uh, it- Anything different than what I just said is contradicting design in nature, meaning you become an animal that eats all the time. Yeah, I'll tell you about the backpack full of rocks that you have to carry. It's called obesity. You don't find you don't find obese animals in the bush. You find them
No.
you find them in at the zoo. At the zoo.
Yeah. When they're
Uh,
domesticated.
No, they're caged. They are caged.
Yes. Yeah, they're caged. Excuse
They're
me.
they are fed regularly, and they're not doing any work, meaning on themselves to spend to stay lean and
Yes.
ready to kill the attendant.